everyone, and I am here today with a review of Uninvited by Sophie Jordan, and it is the first book of a series. I think it's going to be a duology. It came out on January 28th, and I really liked it. I knew I was going to like it because of the premise, but I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. To me, it reminded me of a perfect blend between Divergent and The Darkest Minds. What the book premise is about, it is about a girl named Davy. She's already a senior in high school when her parents get the call that she has this gene. Each person is tested for this killer gene is what they call it, and everyone who has this gene is supposedly prone to kill at least once in their life. So without giving too much away, that's the basic premise of this book, and there's a lot that goes on about it, like her coping mechanisms and what exactly happens. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dystopian novel, but it definitely has some of those elements. I really like the characters in this book a lot, especially the main character, Davy. She, to me, was the perfect blend of a very strong character that is still able to maintain their vulnerability. I like the fact that she tries to be strong and tries to deal with this in a mature adult way, but at the same time you see the impact of her life just being ripped out from under her. So go pick it up if you haven't. This ends the non-spoilery section, and I will be then talking about the book more in depth in about 5 seconds. So go pick up the book, and I will see you guys later. Bye. I really liked each character in the book. I already talked about Davy. And I want to go into more in depth about all the other characters that we are introduced to. And I like the fact that every single character is so different and they have their own set of personality. And you can see that within like 2 sentences of who this character is. I really like that there's that instant connection of, you know, who this person, what their character is. So let's talk about her friends that were previously in her life before she found out she had the killer gene. So the first one I want to talk about is the obvious, Zach. You know that because they're already in a relationship at the beginning of the book, that they're probably not going to be together, and of course that proves true. He's an interesting character because I have mixed feelings about him. I feel sorry for him, but at the same time I don't feel sorry for Zach. The reasons why are that I feel bad for Zach because you could tell that he really cared about her previous to him finding out that Davy had the killer gene, and that also I feel that in a certain way he was peer pressured by Tori and his friends. After the whole party incident, I felt like he was peer pressured into giving a statement against Davy. However, if he really would have loved Davy, he would have stuck with her and would have tried to figure out all of this with her besides leaving her out to dry. Also, I don't feel bad for him because he basically tried to force himself on Davy, and that's never okay. And thirdly, because he was peer pressured. While I feel bad that he was peer pressured, I don't think he wanted to do it, he was still peer pressured, and that doesn't make it right. And then there's Tori. She is a bitch. There's no other way to say it. She was her best friend one minute, and all of a sudden she has this kill gene, and it's let's go make Davy's life as horrible as possible. I would have thought Tori would have been that one character that would have stuck by Davy, but that didn't happen, and she turned out to be the instigator on a lot of things that just turned Davy's life just miserable. Some of the more notable characters that I really want to talk about. So we have Sean. I don't know how I feel about Sean. I think he's too much of a mystery still for me to really trust him fully. I like him, but throughout the book there was always, you know, oh, what did he do to get his collar? What did he do? And so because it was never said or ever mentioned, I think that it's actually going to be something pretty bad. I don't know. I like Sean, I'm just not sold. And then there's Jackson, who is terrifying, and I think I would pee my pants if I ever saw him in real life and I was in Davy's situation, because he scares me reading the book. He's terrifying. And you can tell that that kill gene in him is just very, it's real. He mentions that he's committed so many crimes and that he's never been found, and you believe him. And he's just someone I would never want to cross paths with, and the type of person who would give these kill gene people a bad rep. One of the things that I really liked about the book was the little snippets of media that, or not necessarily media, there was text messages and some. I really liked that there was a little bit of background before upcoming events, so that way you wouldn't have to describe everything that happened in the past, and you can just have, like, you know, a little media press release clip, and you could read that and understand kind of what's happening or what's going to happen for the next chapter, and prepares you very well for what's going to happen next. It makes it easier to follow along. I liked two little references that happened in the book that made me smile and giggle a little bit, because this book takes place, I think, in 2030 something, and it mentions, like, her mother talking about her father and saying that when they met when, you know, they were in their 20s, that he looked like a young Brad Pitt, whatever he looked like, or, you know, whatever that means. So of course today we all know who he is, but it's weird to think about, you know, people in 2030 something might not really remember who or what Brad Pitt was. There's also another reference along the line of, I couldn't see my friends sitting down and watching reruns of Glee. I mean, Glee is such a popular show that it's you know, it's like us saying, going to watch reruns of I Love Lucy, or Gilligan's Island, or MASH, or the list could go on. I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, you know, those kind of shows. The pivotal point in the book is when Davy's at this camp where the government is training them to be, you know, these new types of agents with the killer gene and stuff like that, and they make Davy either shoot this person that she had brought in, who was another person who had the kill gene and was a fugitive, or they took Sean and held him captive and said, if you don't shoot this prisoner, I'm gonna shoot Sean. And it was one of those things to where I don't know what I would have done. Thinking about it's such a hard decision, because no matter what you do, you're gonna regret your decision. So you either can fire the gun yourself and shoot someone, or you can shoot them basically. You know, your finger doesn't have to pull the trigger, but by making the decision not to shoot the prisoner, you have Sean killed. And I think with either one, I would just have so much regret that I really don't know what I would have done. And I think that's something that's going to be a very pivotal point and something that Davy's going to dwell on in the next book. I really liked the ending as well for this book, and the fact of it still felt like there was a conclusion. There was a solid ending, and yet it left it open for the next book. So that is all for today, and I really recommend that you go and read this book. Make sure that if you've read it, go ahead and comment down below and we can discuss things. I love responding to people's comments. If you have already subscribed to me, you can also follow me on Goodreads, Twitter, and Tumblr. If you're not subscribed to me, you can subscribe and then follow me all on those either. Or you can just follow me on those, but I prefer you to subscribe. So until next time, bye. If he really loved Davy, I don't want to say it wouldn't have made a difference, but he would have stuck through her. Stuck through her. Oops.